Paddy Power Ambassador Simon Zebo, welcome to Off the Ball.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
How are you getting on? You're here in South Dublin, an unusual, looking at some of your Instagram posts, an unusual and maybe not the happiest hunting ground for you.
Yeah. I enjoy Dublin. Yeah, it's good crack, but I wouldn't mind being down in Cork back home.
You don't try putting on the old South Dublin accent when you're around there?
God, no. That's not up my street.
We're about an hour after full time in the game, and like the result is there, the tries are in and all that stuff, and I can see how in camp they're going to play this pretty positively. There are aspects of it that I'm sure they're going to be displeasing. They might have liked a more complete performance out of that today.
Yeah, probably, yeah. Now the bonus point is there and the win, and we're relatively injury free and unscathed, so it's the boxes are ticked, but performance wise probably wouldn't have been as dominant as we would have liked to have seen. Russia wouldn't be exactly the a top 10 team in the world, so you'd prefer maybe a bit more variety maybe in our attack, but it was tough conditions, and we got the job done, I suppose. So
what are you thinking at it when you're looking at it in terms of why it isn't gelling together? Like, is there something specific you can look at and point to that you can work on, or is it just a culmination of a lot of small little things?
Yeah, it's probably just a lot of small little things. I think the ambition is there, and the drive to succeed, and everybody wants to go out and win the World Cup. The pressure is probably on a bit now after losing to Japan. A few cracks were shown, I think. Probably more so in our attack maybe than anything. We scored 2 tries, but they were both off penalty advantage, and they're relatively they could have gone either way. They were 50-50 balls, so probably would have preferred to have seen a bit more evolution and maybe in our attack, but we can still get it together. Like, we still got a bonus point today. We have Samoa up next in 9 days, and we can still get the performances where they need to be come quarterfinal time.
We had Ronan O'Gara on during the week before the game, and he was talking about that exact point about the Irish attack, and he was struggling to remember a time where he saw an Irish attack that he was impressed by. Probably been a while. What is your response to that question about the last time you've seen an exciting Irish attack?
Yeah, probably when I was playing, No, it's tricky. It's the attack. Like, it's a hard one, If you have the license, like the players are there. If we have the license to maybe offload and put a lot of width into our game, we've got serious players out wide like Keith Earls and Andrew Conway and these guys and Ringrose, who can beat defenders one-on-one, no problem. It's just you'd like to see a bit more of that, maybe an extra phase or two instead of going to the box kick so early, or maybe instead of just the one-out runners off 9, maybe playing a few more off 10 than normal. So it's very fixable, it's very easy to do, but I think the players just need to be given the licence, because the players are, incredibly talented squad we have.
Listening to some of the analysis just immediately afterwards, Peter Stringer was saying that he couldn't find any discernible game plan from an Irish point of view. Like, that's a fairly significant thing for a player of his history, I suppose, in that jersey to say. What's your take on whether, where you see that Irish game plan at?
Yeah, I think it's like a pressure game plan. It's I don't know. It's the aerial game is very important for us. Defence is very important, and collision winning. It's not a very expansive game plan. It's not an offloading, freestyle kind of game plan. It's a structured percentages, I suppose, kind of game plan. So it's proved successful for Joe and Ireland in the past. But you think when you're playing against fresh New Zealand and a fresh South Africa, not off the back of a Super Rugby season, that they'll probably pose a bit more problems and it'd be a bit tougher to break down. So you'd like to see a bit more variety and show them a few pictures that they maybe haven't seen, and instead of what's been going on so far.
Like, the layperson like myself is looking in all this time, and like the England game pre and Japan game, and like obviously the Scotland game was an outlier in that it was an incredibly good performance and a good result. You're looking in, and Eddie O'Sullivan touched on it, the post-match analysis as well. He said, like, we're all waiting for this big reveal, like that, maybe we're going to get to this quarter-final and suddenly we're going to see the Ireland of 12 months ago. Have you any sense of that? Is there any sort of a rope-a-dope going on here?
I don't think so. No, I think to get this workout is a lot about momentum and getting into your stride and hitting your straps as early as possible. There's no time for any rope and open, and we need to be firing on all cylinders against Samoa now next, and I'd be playing my strongest team going out to get the momentum back and go into a quarter final, and hopefully the players will get some confidence back, because they won't have gained much confidence after beating Russia by 30 points, so we need to put in better performances and start hitting our straps earlier.
I saw you, an interview with Rob Penny yesterday. I saw you replying to the tweet saying that he was, I think you said he was your favourite coach of all time,
Yeah.
And we might come back to that. Where does Joe Schmidt rate on that list, outside of the very obvious personal thing, in terms of, like, when we talk about, the comments afterwards that are coming from credible sources about, I'm not seeing a game plan there, like, I suppose your thoughts on him. I know they're obviously tinted by your own personal relationship, but your own thoughts on him as a coach, and as he now moves into the last few games as an Ireland head coach.
He's each coach I've had has had a different effect on me, and brought different things to my game, and helped me improve in different ways, and. Joe's been different. He's been a different coach. I haven't had a coach like him before, where he's so enthralled in the detail and precision, and the structure of how he wants to play he's very good at what he does. He knows his opposition really well, and there'll be no stone unturned, from a personal point of view, I wouldn't be in love with the way the game would be played, but that's just one individual. Everybody rows in behind the bus and tries to put in good performances for Ireland. But obviously, I've worked with Rob Penny before, and he was one of my favourite coaches. He'd instill a lot of confidence in you. He'd give you belief. He'd make you feel good. There's a lot of things, and he was all about expression, and you just had a freedom and a license to play under him, and if something went wrong, you weren't thrown under the bus in front of your teammates. I just really liked his approach to the game, his mindset of the game, and how he wanted the game to be played. And as dealing with people, in terms of dealing with people as a player manager, I suppose he was up there with the best I've had.
A lot of what you're describing is the antithesis, obviously, of Joe Schmidt. I'm sure that was intended.
No. I'm just saying, Rob I said it yesterday on Twitter. He's definitely my favourite coach I've had, and his characteristics are there to be seen, and that's why he's my favourite coach.
So the Irish game plan is too locked into one sort of thing, and like there's not maybe enough sort of heads up rugby. Ronan O'Gara had a theory with us a couple of weeks ago that it had changed slightly post the England warm-up match, that it had been a bit of a jolt to the system for everybody, and they'd said, actually, listen, we need to move away from the structure. Are you seeing any of that?
I'd like to see probably a little bit more. The players are more than capable. We have some incredible players. The squad is as good as any squad in the world. So you'd probably just like to see the shackles off a little bit, especially today maybe against Georgia, irrespective of a few knock-ons. You'd like to see a bit more width brought into the game. All tournament the ball has been slippy for everybody. You saw the Barrett brothers knocking on a few balls over the line, but they're still able to put 60 points on a Canada team who would be much better than Russia. So I'd be hopeful that a better performance is coming, and we can go into the quarter-final with a bit more confidence.
It all seems to have been, I don't know, like the detail of how it all comes about in terms of, your decision obviously to leave and all that stuff, but there does seem to be like it seems to have got very personal almost between yourself and Joe, that like, there obviously is there's been other players who've played abroad who've been involved, and there are several players who've played abroad who were told for that reason they weren't going to be involved. Yourself and Dunicker obviously among that group, but it seems to be something more personal almost between yourself and Joe. Am I misreading that?
No, there probably is, to an extent, I suppose. There's certain things that probably don't sit with either of us, probably, or sit too well with either of us, and that's probably just the way it is. That's all I'd really say right now. but yeah, he's his own man, and he's been great for Irish rugby, and he's done great things, and I'm sure that all the players are still rowing in behind him and trying to give him the send off, a good send off back to New Zealand. So I wish the Irish team the best, and I hope the players continue and evolve and join this World Cup.
And like in terms of that stuff, then is that just the unequal treatment of different players? Is it boiled down to that, or was there something that was deeper? Whether you're going to give us the details of it or not, beyond that.
There's a few things. Everybody has a different relationship, with different coaches, and
was that there? What I'm asking is, was that there when you were still involved?
Probably to a lesser degree, maybe. Nothing major, like, but. Yeah, I don't know. It's a tricky one.
Yeah, fair enough. Appreciate that. The defence coach had a pretty good day out.
Brilliant day out. He was unbelievable, as always. No, joking aside, I've always had a great relationship with Andy. He's a great coach, and yeah, they nilled Russia today, so that's better than the Japan. So the momentum's going good in terms of defence. So. Yeah, it'll need to continue that way if we want to shut down South Africa or New Zealand, and yeah, it's been going okay.
You're still in your 20s, just about, hanging in there. Still plenty to offer. Like, is there a possibility that once the current regime is done, that the door might open again?
You never know. Yeah, I'm still 29, so in my second season now with Racing, but you never know. And he might have a different mindset to Joe, and so yeah, we never know. I'm always open to Andy and to whatever happens in the future. I never close the door on anything, and if I was lucky enough to get a call while I'm playing with Racing, I'd be delighted, and if not, then no grudges held. It is what it is, and I'm a very happy human being at the moment, so it's all good. In terms of watching the game and that, like, obviously given the history that's there, like if Ireland were to go on and win the World Cup, would 100% of you be going, that's brilliant, that's amazing, cheering them on, or is there a part of you going, oh Jesus? No, I'd be delighted. I would absolutely be delighted, because some of my best friends will be playing, and I know how much it means to them. My career path and my mentality and mindset to life and rugby is different to anybody I've ever met. So I, from day one, have had my career and what I've wanted out of it, the way I structured it, the way I wanted. So I've done it my way, and I continue to do it my way. It's a very short career, and I always wanted to play rugby in France, so that's something that I held as a dream. Not other Irish players have that as a dream, so that's a dream for me, and winning the World Cup was also a dream for me, but it wasn't to be. Maybe in the future, you never know, but I know everybody in the World Cup squad right now wants to win their World Cup, so that's a dream for them, and I hope their dreams come true just like my dreams have come true so far. So there's no grudges held. I've great friends with all the players, and even the Leinster lads. So it's all good. It's all good. I'd be more than happy for them if they won.
Right, so we're talking about life in France, obviously, and life is good and all that. The like listening to everything you hear, like going back as far as Bernard Jackman, who wouldn't have been one of the first, but one of the first people that I would have heard speaking about the culture over there. He would have talked. He had a story, I don't know, it was in his book about you're trying to get lads. You're not trying to get lads to not have dessert. You're trying to get them to not have two desserts. Was the way that he put it. Is that and even more recent stories than that about like the culture of sort of indulgence and like a few cheeky cigarettes here or there or whatever, which seems now at odds with how everything is developed over here in the professional game. What's your experience of that? Is it like that in Racing?
No, there's no cigarettes and fucking things like that. It's a very professional setup, a very ambitious group, very ambitious president and coaching staff. So there's no slacking really. Players are incredibly driven. Every player is pretty much an international player. So they hold each other to their own standards. So no, it's been just as competitive off the pitch as it would have been in Munster, in terms of training and lifestyle, trying to get a starting spot. There's players vying for a position even more so over here, because you could have two world-class 15s if you wanted to pick them in wrestling. So it's just as competitive an environment. obviously you get to go on, a different type of night out or eat at different restaurants and things like that. But no, come training, come games, everybody wants to be playing. So yeah, they're a very, very competitive bunch.
A couple of years into it, would you say it was a good career move?
Yeah, absolutely. I loved my last year. Scoring tries, making assists, having the freedom, a license. It was really enjoyable. Playing in the arena has been very, very enjoyable as well. So it's a different type of rugby. I've met new people, I have new friends, my kids have a new language. There's so many things that go into it that I'd make the decision 10 times over. So I obviously love Munster. Loved Munster until we finished playing them. I loved them again. But yeah, it's just been a new experience and something I would never regret.
Yeah. What's living in Paris like? It seems like every so often I see the pictures of the Eiffel Tower or whatever else is going on. It looks absolutely sensational. What's that been like?
It's amazing. It's amazing. We live in a nice quiet suburb just outside the city, and my kids go into the school in Central, and we have like all the nice parks, playgrounds and things like that on the outside, and you can go into all the fancy restaurants and the cool attractions, whatever you want to call it, at the drop of a dime. So it's a very cool city, and yeah, it's an amazing experience so far.
What's we mentioned your age a bit earlier on, and you've a lot of years yet to go. Have you been thinking about anything beyond that yet? What sort of, is it within rugby or outside of rugby, or where's Simon Zebo's life beyond player?
I'd say I'll go into music with Hermitage Green, probably. I wouldn't mind.
You enjoying that?
Oh my God, I'm loving it. Yeah. Hermitage Green are looking for R&B or a rapper, to add to their dynamic. So that could be a route I could go down. One of my best friends is in the restaurant business. I might join in with him going forward. You never know. I'll do whatever makes me happy. So whether that's, I don't know, teaching swimming classes on a weekend, even though I can't swim, maybe that'll be it. So I don't know.
You might need to brush up on that.
Yeah, probably.
What's the attraction with the music thing? Because obviously people are into music and you enjoy your music. Well, it's a vastly different thing doing that and then getting up on stage and doing what you're doing. Is that, I presume there's a level of performance there obviously as well?
Yeah, I really enjoy it. I perform every day on my own in the car on the way to training. You couldn't name a rap song that I don't know, or a R&B song. I'm singing every day, I'm dancing every day. I'm very different to, a lot of my friends and what they're into, so I get my enjoyment and happiness with coming home from training and dancing and singing with my kids, so performing with Hermitage Green live on stage is, it's an amazing experience and something I'm, very lucky to be able to do and have the confidence to do so. But it's a lot of fun, music and dance for me. So I continue to enjoy it.
Yeah. Well, look at that. That is some steps down the years. What isn't is your playing career. Will you see it out in Paris? Do you think?
I don't know. I've another year left on my contract, so we'll have to see what happens. But yeah, there's a lot of factors that come into my decision again. So there'll be. I don't know. I love my family. I love my home. I love Cork. I love Munster and Ireland. So you never know what happens in the future. So we'll see how it goes. But life right now is very good in Paris and in France, and I'm enjoying the top 14. The league is incredible. The atmospheres week to week are insane. So it's just been a different chapter, but it's been eye-opening so far, and I'm really, really happy.
Well, Munster are pretty well stocked for fullbacks at the minute, but there might be an opening up the road here pretty soon at some point in the next couple of years. You'd never consider it, would you?
Never, no, not in a million years.
If there was no other offer on the table and it was like, Leinster had stepped in to say, listen, 33-year-old Simon Zebo, we can give you a year's contract.
A year? They'd give me 3. There would be no. I'd never happen. There's nothing in a million years I would never play. I hate that team. I would love to play them one day when I'm with Racing.
It was funny because it was one of the things that Rob Penny was talking about in that piece. like Andrew Comma is this word. Like you can't say to him, listen, you need to hate that province, and that's not something you can necessarily
I
build.
say to him every day. I don't care where he's from. If you're wearing that red jersey, you hate Leinster. You know that's the way I was brought up. That's the way I grew up. You know, it's a rivalry. Like you know, it's like telling Gerard Piqué or Sergio Ramos to oh, we're playing Real Madrid. There's a rivalry there. It's inside you. You know, it's not something that you gloss over and say, oh, we're playing our friends now. They'll be my friends after the game. Well, I hate that. I don't want them to do well ever. You know, I want them to lose all the time. That's a true rivalry to me, and that's why that's a part of sport, and I enjoy it. And obviously there'll be the Twitter heads who go mad and giving out cranky and stuff. But you know, you're not playing. You know, this is sport, and I love the rivalry about it, and I love that I really dislike Leinster. You know, and they dislike Munster probably, but from south to north, there's a disliking anyway, for sure.
You're not worried about what the Twitter heads say.
Absolutely not. No, they can blow in and blow out the same way.
Listen, whatever the future holds, been an absolute pleasure speaking to you for the last 20 minutes or so. Best of luck for the next few years. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. We'll see you soon.